Okay, ready to roll on a Saturday morning. Thanks to our friends at Insperity. Visit insperity.com for powerful HR solutions with exceptional fall through. Charlie, how we doing this morning?
I'm trying to get through holidays. I mean, at the end, we're getting closer and closer, but I'm getting tired.
Yeah, no, we celebrated your 80th birthday last
80.
weekend
Yes.
at at David and Nona Wiley's house. It was a beautiful celebration last Saturday. That felt like Christmas in a lot of ways. So you're probably sitting here going, this felt like it was over a week ago.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then I went to Dr. Leggett's beautiful home up north in North Houston,
Yeah.
and there were 200 people, everybody having good time. So, holidays is a lot of work.
Now, your birthday in close proximity to Christmas. Do you enjoy that kind of attention around the holiday season?
It's December 2nd. But I like to be babied. I like that attention.
That's good stuff, Charlie. We got a great tournament going on this weekend. As far as the PNC Championship, it's the Family Championship. Charlie, this has been going on for a long time, and you still have legends like Gary Player and Lee Trevino teeing it up in this event. John Daly. Now you have Tiger and Charlie playing. So, it should be 36 holes of good golf. It is a scramble. They are in carts, but this is a competition I think people always look forward to.
Yes, it's become very popular when you can get Tiger to play and Tiger to be on television talking about the event and how much he enjoys it and so on and so forth. And to see Tiger in pretty good shape,
Yeah.
I was impressed.
I was surprised, Charlie, because at the Hero, he said he just had the little back procedure and 2025 wasn't looking great. But then this week he comes out, we're watching him at bowls. It looks pure. And I think he's got his eye on Riviera for his own tournament there at the Genesis. But
You think so?
he needs to take a cart, Charlie, because he looks great in a cart. And they said he wasn't limping, but it's going to be cold this morning there in Orlando at the Ritz Carlton course there in Orlando. Um, I, the swings he was taking yesterday looked good. With his interview there with Steve Sands, I thought Tiger looked solid.
Charlie looked better.
Have you seen Charlie's foot size? It looks like a clown shoe, which is a direct correlation. This kid's probably going to be 6'4", Charlie.
He's growing up quickly.
He sure is. He sure is. Before we get to some audio from Tiger, two world-class guests later on at 8:15 will bring on Korn Ferry Tour member Stuart McDonald. Stuart played his college golf at Purdue, turned pro in 2017, and he's played on just about every PGA sanctioned tour, and he's won a couple times on PGA Tour Americas. So we'll hear from Stu Mack at 8:15, talk about his journey and what he's looking forward to as far as this next season on the Korn Ferry Tour. And then at 8:30, we'll get Drew Murdoch on the show. And Drew was a standout player at the University of Houston, graduated this past spring, and now he's going to be caddying on the PGA Tour in 2025. The player he loops for is Matthew Riedel, and Matthew earned his PGA Tour card last week after finishing top 5 at final stage of Q School. So two great guests for us here at 8:15 and 8:30. We've got the PNC Family Championship that we need to discuss, where Bernhard and Jason Longer are defending. This competition's amazing. You do have a lot of children of these players who are very solid golfers. Matt Kuchar's son Carson, really good tennis and golfer. Brady Duval, David Duval's son, incredibly good player. But that's not always how it works, Charlie. I mean, Jason Longer won with his dad last year, and Jason's a investment banker in New York. And
Yeah, I mean, really, if you look at the history of sons and daughters of great players, Nicholas had a great group of children, and none of them get to the top. I'm not sure why,
yeah, a lot of pressure.
but I am happy for my friend Gary Player.
Yeah, he looks to
Yeah,
be in great shape,
he's
Charlie.
always in good shape, and if you don't believe it, just ask him. I
Yeah.
mean, but he's got a girlfriend. His
Wow.
wife passed away 6 years ago, and so he's able to have a girlfriend in the United States, not in South Africa. So that's good. Gary's living the life, and I'm happy for him.
Some reporter came up to him and goes, "How do we know that you're working out every day like you say you do?" And how do we take that for fact? And he basically goes, well, watch this. And he just takes 3 hard punches at his stomach and goes, can you do that? And the reporter was like, no, no, I can't. But he's one of a kind, Charlie.
One of a kind.
It's great to see him every year at the Insperity Invitational.
Yes.
You know, I saw him, the DP World Tour just completed their African swing over there in Africa and South Africa. And he went up to these 2 rookies at the Ned Bank, or I'm sorry, the Alfred Dunhill, Leopard Creek. Aldrich Potgeider and Ding Ween Yi, 2 up-and-coming great players on the DP World Tour. And they were just looking for some advice. And he was like, well, you better be working out every day. You know, that was his only piece of advice. And he also told him not to get fat. Now, neither one of them are fat, and I feel like he tells everyone that, Charlie. Some people
He's
take it the
told me
wrong.
that many times.
Some people take it the wrong
I
way.
resemble that remark when I worked for him in
Where'd you
in
work for
Spain.
him? Oh, in
In
Spain.
Spain.
Wow.
Yeah, took care of his family, and we had a 36-hole golf course, and he said, "Laddie," he says, "you stay away from the dinner table." Yes, sir.
So he was always like this.
Always, always. Yeah, I set up. I had a special room with weights for Gary when he'd come to visit. I'd take really good care of him, and we'd go work out every evening. And I was a spotter, but it was a good relationship with Mr. Player,
With one of the greats.
one of the greats.
Yeah.
If yes.
Now, you know, speaking on Tiger and Charlie Woods, this is the most anticipated team, you know, heading into this weekend at the Ritz there in Orlando for the PNC Championship. They are competing in the PNC for the 5th time this week. A lot of the media very curious to who coaches and who instructs and who guides the young Charlie Woods. Here was the Big Cat's answer.
It goes back and forth. You know, I'm here to help. He does come to me from time to time, but and then again, I want him to discover it on his own and make it his own journey. We as parents, we're supposed to provide that opportunity and that support, and he knows that I'm always here for him, no matter what happens, good, bad, indifferent. I just want him to enjoy it, and over the years, that's what my dad provided for me is for that safety net. I went out there and competed, but then again, he knew at the end of the day, it was all about love.
Sounds so good. It sounds so genuine. And Tiger has, he loved his father, and he respects what his father did for him, and now he's still going to make the little Tiger work, and he looks like he has been because his golf swing is excellent.
Charlie?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's very pure,
yeah,
Charlie. And
yeah.
he's doing well as far as, you know, his junior golf schedule. And he goes to school at the Benjamin there in Florida alongside Justin Leonard's son, and they almost won the state title
Yeah,
this year. So playing very solid. I mean, not as solid as Charlie Wiley, but he's playing some very good
yeah.
golf. Playing
Very
some
good.
very good golf. Now, you probably have worked with a lot of parents over the years, you know, that just struggle to find that balance of coach and parent, friend. You see some parents on the range losing it, you know, and it seems like Tiger just has a great feel of what is required of him when it comes to Charlie.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. He knows what it takes. And Dick Harmon and I, we used to laugh, and because the only thing about junior golf we didn't like were the parents,
Yeah.
because some parents were really obnoxious, and they wanted to. It's kind of like Hollywood kids, everybody wants to have the star Academy Award, and it doesn't come with parent guiding. It comes from professional help.
Yeah.
And there's so many PGA golf professionals that are very very attuned, and they make their life living learning how to teach and learning how to understand kids. And so give them to the junior golf programs. The Southern Texas PGA's got one of the great programs in the country, and we run tournaments. We give them scholarships. Everything. So if the parents just step aside and let their kids grow up, I think that's so important.
Yeah. You look at Little League Baseball, Charlie, you know,
Yes.
in the 70s, 80s, and 90s,
Yes.
it would only be kids on the ball field.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there was a coach present. Now you go to a little league,
Yeah.
operation, a complex, and there's parents there from 2 p.m. until 9 p.m.
Yep.
Sometimes the kids just need to go out and play. Now, the other thing that Tiger really made a point of, and Steve Stricker said the same thing, because Steve's daughter Bobby is starting her career on the LPGA tour,
Right.
and they both of them were asked, are you pushing this interest, or do they have their own interest?
Right.
And here was Tiger's comments on that.
Well, they're not going to come out here and do it hour upon hour upon hour. And this is a very isolating sport. And if you don't enjoy it, then what's the point? For me, I've always enjoyed the practice part of it and then be able to create and then go out and compete. He's done that, and the test is when we come back and we come out in tournaments, and then you test it. We normally fail 90% of the time, and then we come back, retool it again, and go back out. And the grind is, you don't have teammates, you don't have people out there picking you up. You have to pick yourself up, and you have to have that type of talk.
Good advice
Yeah.
from the greatest player.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to, the STPGA things and all of these great programs here in the Texas area, they do bring the kids together to some extent, right? When they're practicing out there, I mean, there is a bit of a team aspect to high school and collegiate golf.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure there is, and it's good for the kids, and it's a good environment, and it gives them something to do after school, and the PGA Golf Professional, and we got men and women. We're attuned. We study education and how to approach certain kids, and you develop a relationship with kids for a lifetime. So golf is a great game, and parents stay out of it. No.
That's the bottom line, Charlie. All right, on the other side, we'll welcome in Corn Ferry Tour member Stuart McDonald, Purdue alumni, who's just had a wonderful career as a pro golfer since 2017. Really glad he's gracing us with his presence this morning. And then you can tune into the PNC Championship here in the next hour. Team Trevino's off at 9 a.m. Eastern alongside Team Price. Team Player, Team O'Mara going off at 9:13. Faldo and Emmelman 9:26. Wow, two former CBS. Well, Trevor's with CBS alongside Jim Nance, Nick Faldo, former chair of CBS, and then let's see, Team Woods and Team Leonard off at 10:44, and Team Corda and Team Couples right before them at 10:31. So a lot of great golf today. Tune in there. Stuart McDonald is next. Drew Murdoch at 8:30. Back after this.
The Charlie Epps Golf Hour, powered by Insperity, continues
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Will Doctor and Charlie Epps.
Nice to have you aboard. We head over to the Progressive guest line and welcome in Korn Ferry Tour member Stuart McDonald. Stuart finished 11th on PGA Tour Americas this year. He's won twice on that tour over the last 2 seasons, and now he's headed to the Korn Ferry Tour next year, where 20 PGA Tour cards will be up for grabs. Stuart, congratulations, man. Thanks for taking some time for us. How are you this morning?
Thanks, Will. Thanks for having me. Yeah, doing good. Obviously got some good news yesterday, which helped me move up a spot and get full Korn Ferry status back. So that was a nice little surprise for me. And other than that, everything's good.
Yeah, take me through the last 24 hours, because you played some excellent golf this season on PGA Tour Americas, 11th on the money list after getting a win this season in Peru. And the thing is, though, only the top 10 from PGA Tour Americas get their Korn Ferry Tour card. And then we find out yesterday that Florida State sensation Frederick Kajeterup, he finished top 10 on Americas. We find out he's off to live. The tour takes away his points from 2024, and you are in that top 10 and now guaranteed 12 starts next year. How big of a shock was it to find that out, having to deal with finishing 11th on the money list over the last couple months?
It was just kind of funny. Just like the range of emotions that like I was feeling, but I guess every golfer just typically feels throughout a career. But it's just, it's almost wasn't surprising, because there's been so many crazy things that kind of happen with this kind of lifestyle. But yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it
all day. Now, you've won twice over the last 2 years. Great win at the 2023 Ottawa Open with weekend rounds of 63 and 65, and then another dub this year at the Peru Open. What's been the difference that has taken you to the winner's circle here over the last couple of years, Stuart?
I just think I've gotten just a touch better kind of in all areas of the game. And it's just allowed me to be in like a winning position a little more often. So you just get comfortable with being, in the final group on Sunday or being near the lead on the weekend or late on Sunday. And then ultimately, like, you just kind of you get some bounces that go your way and you're able to convert on Sunday. But the difference really isn't that much, but you definitely have to be playing solid to get yourself into a position. And then I was able to do that a couple of times the past couple of years.
Now, go ahead, Charlie.
We were Charlie Epps here, and I'm a PJ golf professional, and Will and I were just talking about junior golf and the influence of parents on children for junior golf. In your growing up, were your parents very active in your education of golf, or did they let you learn by yourself, or what was that? How did you get to where you are through improving your golf, and how did you improve?
Yeah, my parents weren't involved really at all in my early golf years. Obviously they would drive me to the driving range at the golf course, but my mom or dad they weren't experts in that field, so they weren't they were leaving it up to whoever I was getting a lesson from, and wasn't getting too involved in any of the mechanics or anything like that. So just kind of figured it out myself, and I think that's where you kind of like really find the joy for the game, is just experiencing the game kind of by yourself and just messing around. And then obviously as I got a little older and got a little better, it took it a little more seriously. Then we, seeked some outside teaching professionals to take a look and stuff like that. But parents were not very involved, instructionally wise, for sure.
Stuart, you've played on nearly every PGA sanctioned tour around the world: PGA Tour Latino America, PGA Tour China, PGA Tour Canada, PGA Tour Americas, the Korn Ferry Tour. You had a top 25 on the PGA Tour this year. in Mexico. But forgetting golf for a second, how valuable has all of your world travels been since you turned pro in 2017?
Yeah, it's been super interesting, no doubt. I'm not gonna lie, when you're been playing pro golf for 7, 8 years and you're doing a lot of traveling, it can wear on you a little bit. You start to see the same things over and over again. No, but I don't take it for granted. Like, the experiences have been incredible, just seeing so many cool places and meeting a lot of cool people, traveling with a lot of cool people. Um, no, it's been amazing.
Are you a hockey player?
I played a few years of hockey when I was young, but I was too small, so I gave it up. Golf was a little more of the size didn't matter as much.
But do you think when you played hockey, even if you were small, that motion helped you become the golfer you are?
For sure, for sure. I actually played hockey left-handed, golf righty, but I think every sport that I played a lot of racket sports too growing up, so I think a lot of the hand-eye was kind of ingrained at an early age. I don't know if that has anything to do with me being okay at golf, but um, definitely played a lot of sports, and I think every sport contributes to my abilities, I guess.
Stuart, I was looking back from some of your scores this year, and the 4 rounds you put together at Ambassador Golf Club at the BioSteel really just blew me away. I mean, 4 rounds of 65 or better and finishing tied seventh. Do you look at those weeks, these weeks where everyone's just going super low, when you fire 4 rounds of 65 or better? Do you take that away as a positive, or do you are you is there any kind of deflation going on there? Man, I just put together 4 rounds of 65 or better. How much better can you possibly do?
Yeah, those weeks are interesting. It's just I just think when you're playing and you're playing on an easier golf course, um, you're just inherently going to have more looks for birdie, and you're just inherently going to shoot a lower score. And I think you kind of, once you get done your round, you shot 6, 7 under, and you feel good about it. But then you also, at the same time, if you're playing solid, you probably still felt like you left a couple out there, 2, 3 out there maybe. Um, but yeah, those weeks are just they ultimately end up being a putting contest. Everyone's in the fairway, everyone's in the green, got a wedge in, and there's a lot of just really good golfers out there right now. The level of talent is increased dramatically. So you get a relatively gettable golf course, you're gonna get some ridiculously low scores. And I think that week I shot I think it was 21 under, and yeah, finished seventh. Probably lost by 3, 4, or 5, but that
Unbelievable.
definitely happens out there a lot.
Now, you played a full season on the Corn Ferry Tour in 2019. Was there any learning lessons from that year that you will take into this season?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've played. I probably played 70 plus tournaments out there, so I feel like I have a decent level of knowledge of the golf courses. I've probably played 80% of them maybe, which I think helps because it puts a little less stress on you having to get out there Monday afternoon, after getting done Sunday afternoon, and having to kind of learn the golf course and feel comfortable. You can kind of take it easier throughout the week, which is kind of nice. So I feel good about that. And at the end of the day, the golf's the same, whether you're playing on the Americas Tour, the Corn Ferry Tour, PGA Tour. It's all the same. It's just kind of how you're perceiving it. If I pay your run of the mill PGA Tour event, yeah, I'm going to be more nervous than if I'm playing my Americas event. Even though at the end of the day, your score is all that matters, and you're kind of just playing against yourself.
You know,
But yeah.
Stuart, I've played a lot of golf up in Canada, and the Canadians are crazy about the game. And in what province did you grow up? And then where did you go to college?
So I'm from Vancouver, Canada, Vancouver, British Columbia, and I went to Purdue University.
And how come you chose Purdue?
So I spent 2 years at what it was the Ledbetter Academy in Florida. I think Will has some experience down there as well.
Yes, sir.
And so I was there for 2 years, and actually got really close with the Ledbetter family, and David Ledbetter was actually close with the director of golf at Purdue, Devin Browse, and so they kind of made that connection. Yeah, I wasn't an all-star or a stud by any means, so I was given a chance. I was able to walk on at Purdue my freshman year, and then kind of went from there. But it was kind of I got lucky, I would say.
Well, it just appears to me, looking at your resume, that you've done each step quite well, and each step you've gotten better and better, and I you'll probably win the Canadian Open this year.
I love
I
it.
hope so.
I love it. Stu Mack in the Canadian Open.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go. Let's
yeah.
go.
That sounds nice.
We're gonna, and then if you do, you're gonna have to come back on the show and tell us about it. But I just got a good feeling. Your background is excellent, and I congratulate you, and I look forward to following you. You and Will and I will be in touch.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Stuart, thanks for taking some time this morning. That's Stuart McDonald. Once again, he's going to have 12 starts on the Corn Ferry Tour next year. He's crushed it at every level of the game, from collegiate golf to every PGA sanctioned tour. Great guy. And yeah, once again, me and Stuart were actually never in high school together at the same time at IMG. I'm 26, he's 30, so I just missed Stuart, but I did. I always heard through, my good buddy James Ledbetter. He's very close with Stewart. I didn't get to ask Stewart this, but I believe James is Stewart's coach to some extent. Don't quote me on that, but James speaks very highly about Stewart, and I think we just found out why. Very sharp guy.
Yeah, sounds great kid.
Now, Charlie, before we go to break, once again, we're going to get Drew Murdoch in on the other side. Now, Drew's going to be caddying on the PGA Tour next year. But before we do so, the business owners listening, they need HR services, Charlie.
HR, what does that mean? Human resources. And companies today have to have human resources at their begging. It's so important to manage your people correctly. And if you have a company that has 20 employees or 2,000, human resources becomes the key to small business success. And Insperity is a company that has perfected the art of understanding what human resources are and how to cultivate the right mindset for people to work hard so that their company survives and makes a profit. So we have a nice relationship with Insperity. Small business owners, if you're really looking forward to building your business in 2025, consider making a call to Insperity. Wouldn't you recommend that, Will?
Absolutely, Charlie. There is no other HR company in the nation that tops what Insperity does. We were out there twice this week with their great clients at Whispering Pines Golf Club, and it's really amazing to see the kind of people that they bring around. And these are all class act individuals that really want nothing for their clients than to improve their HR capabilities and opportunity.
So once again, success is based on hard work, and hard work, you have to have the right knowledge. Insperity, our hardworking company that specializes in HR business. So mark my word, give them a call, and I guarantee you'll call me in 2026 and say, "Man, did I make the right decision?" Insperity, a company that really is the ultimate.
And Insperity.com is where you can find them. Back after this with Drew Murdoch.
This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Powered by Insperity.
Now from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and the golf doctor himself, Charlie Epps.
All right, we stay on the guest line here. Welcome in former Houston Cougar golf superstar, now PGA Tour caddy, Drew Murdoch. Drew is a Houston native and was on the bag for Matthew Riedel at final stage of Q School last week in Ponte Vedra, Florida. Matthew finished top 5 there at Sawgrass, and now him and Drew are headed to the PGA Tour. Drew, great to have you aboard. Thanks for taking the time. How you doing this morning?
Good to be on. It's been a pretty crazy week, just with changing flights and changing hotel reservations from South America to kind of your West Coast swing. So it's exciting times over here.
Now, you played 3 years of collegiate golf at Houston. You're a great player. You caddy, and you've got a degree from a renowned school in the University of Houston. What has the last year been like for you figuring out what's next and then, getting on the bag for Matthew?
Yeah, it's been crazy the last 6 months. So I graduated in the spring, and Matthew kind of reached out to me around March asking if I would be interested in caddying for him. And of course I was interested. I've known Matthew for a while. Great player. And so the original plan was I was going to go back for my 5th year at Houston this fall, and I was going to caddy for him for about 8 events over the summer on the Korn Ferry Tour. And that quickly changed. I remember about a weekend just sitting in the car with him and saying, if this goes well, first couple weeks out here, I could easily kind of push my plans back. There's always time to go do more school. And I think he was not totally sure if I was being serious, but he ended up finishing 2nd place in the Korn Ferry event, and the rest is history. I kind of stayed on throughout the rest of the year. I called our coach, Jonathan Dismuke, a few weeks later when I was on the range in Utah, and a ton of work ever since.
And you told him that this was going to become more of a full-time role. Is that right, Drew?
Absolutely, yeah. It was definitely a part-time deal to start, and then I just really kind of fell in love with it. It's easy to work for a guy like Matthew. He works so hard. He loves what he does, and it was just a ton of fun being out there with him.
Well, this is Charlie Epps, and I congratulate you. That's a big move, but it's also a good way to learn how to play professional golf. And a lot of times, the guys turn into professional golf without even knowing what it's all about. But the closest job to that is being a vice president in charge of transportation. I call you're carrying a bag, but you're also you've got the right vibes going, but you're going to learn a lot in I would say probably within a year or 2 years, unless he turns into a killer like the number 1 player in the world, and all of a sudden you make $6 million in a year. But you're going to have fun, and we look forward to watching your success.
Drew, you did some caddying at some really cool golf clubs. I know Marion was one of them. I might be missing a few, but how much did that experience kind of help you today and what you're doing inside the ropes?
So it's funny. I thought there was going to be quite a bit of crossover, and there really wasn't. When I was caddying at a club, it's a ton of like you coaching others on the golf course, and then like what shots to hit. And I think there's very little of that in Matthew and I's relationship. I would say 99% of it is just me being his friend out there and being his psychologist, because there's just a ton of high pressure situations and it's tough to deal with, rather than, pointing out a yardage and what club I think it should be on every shot at a random golf club. It's a lot of coming up with the right thing to say at the right time and filling that empty space from the first fairway to the 18th green, because there's a lot of time to have bad thoughts or kind of get in your own little bubble. So it's definitely been something that I've had to work on, because it's not an easy thing to do, to come up with 6 hours of material to talk about with the same person you're with for the 55th consecutive day.
Now, it was Matthew's first time at Q school. It was, as a caddy, your first time at Q school. Down the stretch of that final round, how, looking back now and reviewing y'all's performance, how would you grade the way that you handled that? I know you punched your ticket to the PGA Tour, and that's the most important thing. But just looking back at your first go round through that, is there anything you would have done differently? How do you grade that, Drew?
I mean, it's hard to not give him an A plus. We did what we wanted to do. Now, the final round, it was probably not exactly how we planned it out. It would have been nice for him to have just cruised on the front nine and then had a pretty stress-free back nine, but he bogeyed 9 and 10, and we were kind of right on the cut line after that. So in a perfect world, he cruises on that day, but I actually think there was a ton of value in struggling a little bit on Sunday, getting it together, and then doing what needed to be done, especially on those last 3 or 4 holes. I think it's a huge advantage for him to be able to look in the mirror and say, man, I played some really great golf when everything was going wrong and it was tough to control my mind, and I did it.
That's great stuff. Once again, Drew Murdoch with this caddy of Matthew Riedel, who is heading to the PGA Tour next year. Drew, I've got 2 more questions for you. Number one, I saw last week that a lot of players had some issues with the course conditions at Dyes Valley and Sawgrass Country Club, and I even asked the tour, hey, why not use the stadium course? And they don't want to ruin it for the players, but not only did you have some iffy course conditions, but the weather was not easy by any means as well. As a caddy, how do you kind of calm your guy down, or is that even a process that you go through with Matthew?
Yeah, so my process for slowing him down is to just, and it's probably pretty annoying to him sometimes, but to just ask him a million questions. I think it's easy to get into a shot and just kind of nonchalantly go about it. And I think a good way for Matthew, at least it works for Matthew, of getting him into the shot and slowing down is just asking him what he wants to do, what he thinks all of the conditions, how they're all going to play a factor. Because, like you said, this past week, the conditions were brutal Thursday through Saturday. And if you were off in what you wanted to do at all, that miss could really hurt you. And he did a great job of just being committed to what he wanted to do, being specific with what he wanted to do. And then at the end of the day, I thought the 5 guys that committed to the most shots and stepped up and did it were probably going to be the 5 that made it through.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Perfectly said.
Stepped
Right there.
up and do it.
They did it, Charlie. They did it. Unbelievable. The 5 guys were, Lanto Griffin, Hayden Buckley, Takumi Kanaya, Alejandro Tosti.
How about Toasty?
Your guy from Argentina, Will Chandler, and Matthew Riedel. Yeah, once again, Drew, just big congratulations. Well done, my friend. Last question for you, and Charlie will grade you on this answer. Which course are you most excited to see on the PGA Tour in 2025?
Cool, man. That is a tough question. So I will say, we're not getting thrown into the PGA Tour slate that most fans are used to. The Rivieras, the Pebble Beaches will more than likely not be on our schedule. But I'm honestly most excited about teeing it up in the Houston Open. I think that's going to be an electric atmosphere with Matthew being from here. I really like the new Memorial Park. It's kind of a polarizing golf course. Some people like it, some people hate it, but I really enjoy playing it. But I have that event circled on my calendar.
Good Good answer. Good answer.
You're spot on. No, they said that all the players after the Houston Open's first return to the fall this year, they all said it was set up like a U.S. Open, and yeah, the crowds are just going to be incredible, and I'd have the same answer, Drew. That's A+. That's Drew Murdoch. Drew, thanks for taking some time for us this morning. Rest up, and we'll look forward to watching you and Matthew in the 2025 season.
Love it. Good to hear from you, Will.
Happy holidays.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Good luck. Good luck. I'm excited for you.
Thanks, Charlie.
All right, we continue here on ESPN 97.5 Houston. Once again, if you missed our last two conversations with Stuart McDonald and Drew Murdoch, you can find those at the conclusion of the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We got to take a quick break. We will return with a little weekend preview for the PNC. Hear a couple more audio clips from Tiger Woods. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour. Back after this.
You're listening to the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Powered by Insperity.
From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and the Golf Doctor himself, Charlie Epps.
Nice to have you with you. Nice to have you with us on a Saturday morning. Tons of anticipation here with the 36-hole scramble going on in Orlando for the PNC Championship. Once again, 2-day 36-hole tournament that uses a two-person team scramble format and tons of great teams. We talked about Team Woods and Team Daly. You also have Peter and Nelly Korda there. You know, Nelly just got done with really a record season on the LPGA Tour. Not as good as some of Annika's years, but certainly heading in that direction. And we love seeing Annika Sorenstam there at the PNC with Will McGee, her son. He's a really entertaining little lefty player.
Great story.
Yeah.
Great story. Mom and son playing golf. That's super. I mean, this event is classic, and we should have a couple more because the atmosphere is different, and this promotes golf between the parents and the kids, and this is the best way to encourage young people to play and have some success. But PNC should be congratulated for hosting this event for, was it 10 years?
They just signed it. They're 10 years, and they're going to continue into 2030, Charlie. This is an event that it's the best event of this time of the year in the fall and winter. I'm with you. I think they should have something like this in the spring with how well it does, Charlie. Brings a lot of eyes to golf, this tournament.
The other thing that I remember in back in the 80s and 90s, I played in a tournament, a partnership tournament with Blaine McAllister, and we finished second in the event, and it got me where I could really help Blaine better. And Blaine said, "Well, why don't you play good like you play in this partnership?" Well, I said, I got you as a partner. I can just let her go.
Yeah.
And events like this are good.
Did that event right there alongside Blaine in the 2-ball, did that, as far as helping you get to where you need to go alongside Blaine, was it the respect everyone else had for you out there?
It was. It provided many different little caveats that helped me with my. It coincided with me leaving Houston Country Club and going to work for Golf Digest as a full-time instructor, and that in I got television time. I was a shot of the day on CNN.
Yeah, that's right. It's still on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's still up. It's still up there. Unbelievable.
So that did a lot for me personally, but with Blaine, he went on to win 5 tour events, and we just had a wonderful time.
It was great to see him and Ed Fiore at your birthday last week.
Wasn't
Charlie.
that great?
That was special.
Ed Fiore, heart transplant, and he comes over and has a celebration. It was a wonderful evening for me and my family, but for all my friends to get together, and like I said in a little speech that I gave, I came to Houston in 1973 in October. I didn't know a soul, nobody, and all of a sudden, 52 years later, here we are. And Houston's been such a great city for me and my family, and now my grandson. So, and golf has just really been a great way to make a living.
Yeah, I mean, from Oilers quarterbacks to NFL referees to
Dan Pastorini,
Houston owners. I mean, it's just, Charlie. It's the full circle.
Earl Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, if you're lucky enough to be in Charlie Epps' circle, that's a special place to be.
Well,
Charlie,
thank you for that. The time I played with Earl Campbell over at Houston Country Club, and
how about this?
He was having a little problem. We were playing with coach at Texas, and then the coach at
Coach Royal.
Coach Royal.
Wow.
And then we played with the coach at Arkansas and Mo Bandy. And we get to the 10th hole, and I said, and I'm riding with Earl. And I said, Earl.
2 people fit in the cart?
Yeah, just barely. His legs were so big, it's unbelievable. But I said, if you change your grip just a little, it's going to help that ball go straighter. He says, Pro, when you've been hit as hard as I've hit, you really don't care. I'm just out here to have fun. I don't care where the ball goes. I said, okay, Earl, I'll leave you alone. He said, thanks, Pro.
No more swing tips the rest of the day?
No more swing tips.
Wow. You'd think he'd be maybe a little bit more of a perfection, but he did get – no one got hit harder than Earl.
No.
Oh, wow.
And he's so big. And
they don't even allow those hits now.
That's right.
The type of hits he sustained.
That's exactly right. But Darryl Royal was great. And see him and the coach from Arkansas. They had such a great relationship off the golf course and on the football field.
Unbelievable. But now your Your guy Angel Cabrera, Charlie,
Yes.
he won this turn. He's been a big part of your time in Houston as
Yes,
well.
sir.
And he won the PNC alongside Angel Jr. in 2017. Were you there that week?
No,
Okay.
I saw it on television.
Beautiful. Even
And,
better.
yeah, and they did well. His son was a good player, but his father had too much money, and so he wouldn't work hard enough. But if
Yeah.
he had worked hard enough, and a lot of problems with the kids of great athletes is that they're not motivated.
Yeah.
If he had been motivated and wanted to get it, he could have been a tour player.
But did that trophy, the PNC championship, that brought a lot of satisfaction to Angel, or did he not really care about this one?
No, he liked playing with his son.
Yeah.
And he liked winning some money.
Yeah.
But it was the notoriety, and
Yeah.
they won it going away, so it was fun.
You just don't get in any other sports this type of competition where you have basically the legends of the game and Gary Player and Lee Trevino, all the way down to some of the newer legends and Daly
Yeah, well,
and Tiger. But you don't see in other sports, there wasn't, besides the two of them playing in the All-Star game together one year, King Griffey Sr. and King Griffey Jr., there wasn't a whole lot they could do together in the spotlight.
you know who's the big surprise is this year?
Who is it, Charlie?
He's a rookie.
Freddie?
Freddie
And his stepson.
And Freddie was really looking forward to being with his stepson and playing golf and showing him, the ropes.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to.
Supposedly a good, solid player.
Yeah,
his name's Hunter. I don't know his
Hunter.
last name.
Yeah,
but no, you've got a couple. You really have a couple great new young players. Matt Kuchar's really played in this tournament over the last couple of years with he has two sons.
right.
Cameron is the son that plays on the AJGA circuit and is really committed to golf. But this son, Carson,
Tennis player
under Jay Berger, Daniel's dad. Daniel Berger, PGA Tour.
Yeah.
His dad is a great tennis player, and he's a tennis pro. And so, yeah, Carson's committed to tennis to some extent. But he told Matt yesterday, he goes, "I'm going to be the first player to win the U.S. Open tennis tournament and the Masters in the same year."
That's it.
So these are athletes, Charlie. Unbelievable. Brady Duval, Patty Harrington Jr. You really have
Bernard Langer.
Yeah, Jason.
They've won this. He won it with his daughter and his son.
Unbelievable. I mean, Jason, he's in an office every day. Came in and won this tournament last year. We have a couple more audio clips. This one was very important. Tiger, he's so used to being on the course, playing golf, and being in the heat of the moment, competing. The media, the talking heads, they were curious to what goes through the mind of Tiger, the golf watcher. Listen in.
I just want him to have a great time, and I pull harder for him than anybody else. I want him to have all the successes that he deserves, and I hope that he gets. But you're gonna have to earn it. And as I said earlier, this sport is tough, and you fail most of the time. Be able to pick yourself up and come back out here. If you don't enjoy it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, wise words there from the big cat,
great
Charlie.
Great message.
Yeah. No, and some people, I think it's even interesting to look into. Even all the times Tiger won, he was still losing more often.
Mm-hmm.
Won 13% of his tournaments over the course of his career, and now we got a guy in Scotty Scheffler who just dominating the professional scene here over the last 2 years.
That's so fun to watch.
Yeah, it really is. I'm really interested to see where he can go in 2025. When you look at the venues for the major championships, Charlie, you have Portrush for the Open, you have Oakmont for the U.S. Open,
hardest course for an Open,
and Quail Hollow for the PGA.
Very good course.
So, which one of those courses, Oakmont, Portrush, Quail Hollow, could Scheffler in this competitive environment where the game is today, can he go win, 3 majors in a year, Charlie? Is that still possible for a player?
Sure it is. It's possible. Is it probable?
Yeah.
But he's got such good control of his driver. Angel, when he won at Oakmont, he averaged 310 yards
Off the tee.
in the U.S. Open.
Wow.
But not many people talk about that. And so then his iron play was on display because his iron play was so dominating during that Open in 2007. And he caught a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah, wow. And Scotty's doing the same thing as far as the tee shot and then the approach play. It's maybe the best we've seen since something like Angel in 2007 or Tiger in 2000. It's really fascinating. I'm really looking forward to the 2025 season. I think it's going to be great as long as the suits can figure out all this mess between the PIF and the PGA Tour, Charlie. I think it's going to be a good year of golf.
Well, I agree with you, and I hope it's sooner, not later.
Yeah.
They get it resolved and they can get back to doing what they do and play professional golf and entertain the golfing public worldwide.
Yeah. You here for Christmas this week, Charlie?
I am.
Incredible
Ho, ho,
stuff.
ho.
It's a good place to be. Nothing like being home for the holidays. Gotta go see my sister up in New York. Hey, look, Home Alone 2 type scene. I can't complain. I'll be back with you next Saturday. Me and Charlie here on the Charlie Epps Golf Hour presented by Insperity. Great work today, Charlie. Thank you, AJ, John behind the ones and twos. Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.